Welcome back to the Zero Weakness podcast, where we talk about how to be a better lifter, how to be a better coach, and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Zero Weakness podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Establishment Coffee. Go to establishmentcoffee.com.au, use the code 025, get 25% off your order and free shipping. We are back with another podcast with the fam. To get things started, let's talk about what's one thing we're grateful for and why.
Oh, I like this segment. Show a bit of gratitude to start the potty.
I thought about this morning.
Put us in a good mood. Tom Brosy.
Geez. I haven't thought about this either. You want to say the right thing. I hate it when it's like one thing. At least when it's three, it doesn't matter if you say the wrong thing first and think of a better one later. I'm grateful for community. I was just looking at the post that they made on Zero Brisbane and like it's really cool to see new community form. Obviously I'm biased under the Zero banner, but like it's one thing to put together a gym and put a bunch of equipment in a space, but seeing people come to it and find each other and blend with each other and turn into a community, and me not being part of it directly, I'm not there to drive that community. It's heartwarming. It's really cool. So I'm grateful for the sense of community and the friendships and the camaraderie that something like Zero has provided.
That's a really good grateful.
That's a great one.
The vibe up in Brisbane is awesome. I was there a couple weeks ago to film. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be allowed to talk about it?
Wait, what were you filming?
No, I was, Thomas was like, I want you to get the vibe up there. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know what the vibe is. I've never been there since it opened. And I knew no one there really besides some of the people that train down here. And it was just such a fun atmosphere. Everyone was like, just smiles on their faces. Everyone wanted to talk to you and whatnot. And yeah, it really shows in this video that I made it. I'm keen for everyone to see it. But yeah, love it up there. It's
nice. Good dog. What are you grateful for?
I'm just grateful for all of you guys. I know that is a bit cringy, but yeah, it's just a really good team and I'm really happy to be here. And I love you all.
We're grateful for you.
Love you too, Gidge dog. How good. CJ, what are you grateful for, brother?
Strepsils.
Yeah, I haven't taken any, but I should. I'd be very grateful for them.
Armor Force.
Yeah,
yes.
Armor Force.
I am so grateful for Armor Force. Oh my gosh.
I feel like Armor Force is very strong within the Asian community.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, the only people I know that takes it are my fellow Asians, like yourself, Mig
so.
takes it. Like my housemate Johnny, he takes it too. My mum swears by it. It's an Asian thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got my mum onto it, so yeah. Well, yes, good medication. But I think something I'm grateful for is actually something Meg posted on her story that it is a quote that stuck with me. She said, like, training is a privilege. And that's something that really kind of shifted my perspective. I think we can get so overtraining or get, pretty complacent or see it as mundane. But when, I remember, I think I said this last podcast, when we had, when had COVID restrictions and we couldn't train, it was the worst thing. And it really took a toll on, admittedly, like my mental health, but a lot of my friends, I couldn't train. So I think, shifting my perspective as to like, I have to train, to knowing like, man, I don't think there's many places where I probably still couldn't train, or even more so, train with the facilities we have here. Recently we trained other gyms, and I really love the equipment that we have here. And it's, I never thought I'd be a snob when it comes to equipment, but I really am now. So I'm very grateful for having the privilege and the option to get to train and to get to exercise. And yeah,
that's a great one. When I was out at my parents' the other week, they're in the middle of nowhere. There's no gym there. I couldn't do anything. Yeah. It was terrible. I was showing my parents how many push-ups I could do.
bench press a dingo.
A dingo.
A kangaroo.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Hashtag too
Dead
soon.
kangaroo.
Wow.
I'm grateful for my health and my able body. After having Lee Skinner on the podcast last week, I got a little bit emotional during the episode. I don't know if you can tell.
I nearly cried. Eh?
Yeah, bro. Fuck.
I didn't talk for the whole episode.
Oh, man.
And then at the very end, when Thomas was like, "Oh, you got anything to say?" and I was like,
Mm.
"I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah."
Yeah, so I'm super grateful for my health and like seeing how positive Lee is with the trials and tribulations that he's gone through and his peers like in the powerlifting community. Yeah, I'm very grateful for my health. Like I get a sore hammy or whatever and I think it's the fucking end of the world, but I got 2 legs that work every day. I got, I can walk around. I don't have to think about going upstairs. I don't have to think about how heavy's the bag I'm carrying into the gym. I don't have to think about any of that. We just get up and do it. So I'm really grateful for my able body.
That's a good one.
So grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. What have you guys been up to? How's training been?
Yeah, I'm really loving training at the moment. I'm still doing squat, bench, deadlift, but I'm focusing a lot more on accessories at the moment. Doing a bit of bodybuilding. It's fun.
Getting jacked.
Yeah, trying to.
Juicy Bridge.
Yes.
How good. Tom Russ?
I'm sore.
Yeah.
I'm very sore. I'm dedicating the next at least 2 blocks, maybe more, to similar to Bridget bodybuilding. But in the past, when I've done this kind of training, I've normally done this kind of training when I'm in a calorie deficit, like without the direct intention of growing. This is probably the first time ever since being a kid, really, that I've decided to dedicate a couple of blocks to eating big and pushing accessory work really hard. When I've done that in the past as well, I've gone hard on squat, bench, deadlift. So this time I'm not doing any squat, bench, deadlift. The only barbell work I'm going to do this entire program is going to be barbell RDLs.
Nice.
And I'm doing everything with RIR. And it's good to remind yourself how much more you've got, like to push towards where you would normally stop in say a powerlifting program, when the focus maybe is a bit more on movement, and be like, I can push a couple of more reps, and then get to that point and be like, I'm not even going to fail yet. I can keep going. It's cool to unlock that again. I speak like I've got heaps of experience with it. This is day 3. So. but I'm having fun so far, and
Nice.
I'm looking forward to the coming weeks.
That's sick. Because you've always been super consistent with your training. For as long as I've known you, you always train no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we have a big comp, you'll still do some bench or something after or whatever. Is this the most consistent? Well, I think it is, but this is the longest I've seen you with like really good body composition. So is that no? But that's what I mean. So is
It's just
this
because
why?
when you met me, I was fat as fuck.
Nah, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm like, is that why it's a little bit different? Why you can eat up now in this prep, where after comp usually, all right, I want to put myself in a calorie deficit. If you know what I mean.
Since you've known me, yes.
Yeah.
But back in the past, like when I was 90, 100 kilo lifter, I wouldn't do that as often. But I was like balls to the wall powerlifting all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Right. Are your hips thanking you for it?
No, they don't thank me for existing.
Well,
hang on. Let's come back to what were you going to say?
What is RIR?
Reps in reserve.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you're 2 RIR, you're going until you believe you have 2 reps left before you're going to fail.
Oh, okay.
So instead of doing like 6 sets of 6 or whatever, I'm just doing 2 sets of like 1 or 2 RIR, and it's way harder. Like it absolutely floors me. And for the last 12 months, I've done all my accessory work with like a maximum 1 or 1.5 minute rest period. Now I'm going harder on intensity and longer rest periods.
That's cool.
I want to come back to you. Your run this week.
Yes.
So what's the training look like into it? How are you feeling about the big day?
I'm very excited. My nutrition's been on point. I'm about 8 kilos down since when I first started this prep. So I'm like 81. I hover between 81 and 82 kilos, which is the lightest I've been since 2017. So last time I ran was last year. So my race nutrition is way better in terms of how I hydrate during a race or during a run. Like how I'm manipulating my sodium intake, my carbohydrate intake, things like that. And leading into the race, I had 2 easy runs this week. one easy like 6K run. So the volume's dropped right down. The intensity is really low. And yesterday I had like a race simulation. So it was like a 4K warm up and 4K at race pace and then a warm down. So it was like 10K work. And that's my last run until game day, which is Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm gunning for I don't know if I should say, no, I'll say it out loud, but I want a sub 140, which is pretty quick, in terms of runners, like it's not very fast. But for me, that's kind of fast. So it's around like 440 to 445 per K.
Yep.
So let's go. I'm excited. And then after that, what I really want to do is, we're going to talk about it later in the podcast, but I think I want to try actually get strong and run. Mm-hmm. Where this time I've been training, but the goal hasn't been on trying to get strong.
Yep.
Mm.
Have you found any differences in your performance since you've been able to tie your hair up?
Yeah, I just look way sexier now when I exercise.
Slick. Aerodynamic.
Yeah, no, the shitty thing is my hats don't fit me properly now.
Oh, too much hair in the way.
Yeah, so like my hair's like kind of, because I don't know if you can see this on camera, CJ, but like my hair's tied up now, so it's long. And it just like, when I run, it pushes my hair, my hat up.
Bumps it up.
Yeah, because I can't tie it up because my hats don't fit me properly.
Can't you go like the ponytail through the hole?
Through the snapback?
I haven't thought of that. I don't know why. That's what
He's such an amateur.
Yeah, I know. That's so
Long-hair amateur.
stupid. Yeah. I'm new to this. But yeah.
Are you going to get cornrows like CJ?
My hairline isn't as tight as CJ's. I got a few years on CJ. I'm 31 years old.
Okay.
Not old at all.
No, my hairline, no, it doesn't. I got the McDonald's logo. It looks fine, but if you pull it right back really hard in cornrows, it will just look plain up.
Nah,
Golden
not
Arches.
McDonald's. It's Vegeta.
The Vegeta, yeah, let's run with that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Can't wait. It's going to be sick. And then, yeah, that's cool.
How do they... Is it all done electronically with the little thing?
Yeah.
Because, like, how do they account for... Obviously, there's hundreds, I don't even know, thousands of runners. Like, how do they account for who's at the front?
So you got to be seated to be right at the front. So you got to, like... It's funny. It's really cool how it's like all the professionals are running with us fucking bozo amateurs.
Yeah.
Like, there's a press conference on Friday with all the elite athletes.
Yeah.
So they get seated. The top 3 are from Japan. So they're coming over for, I'm assuming there's big prize money. That's why people come from all over the world. And they want to qualify for bigger marathons.
Yep.
So their times will qualify them for like the Boston Marathon and things like that. So you got to be seated. So to be in the seated group, you got to run for the half marathon, sub 1, I could be wrong, but 1:17.
Yeah, nice.
So these guys are flying. So for context, some of these guys, you go to your local gym, you put the treadmill up as fast as it can go. That's not even as fast as some of these guys are running.
Fire out.
Yeah, for 21 Ks.
Yeah.
And then there's guys doing the full marathon. The same thing. They're running the same pace for that long, which is crazy.
It's insane.
Really puts it in context when you look at it like that.
Yeah.
Like the treadmill analogy.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's nuts because like we've all been on a treadmill and you put it up as fast and go, your legs are moving and
Yeah, well, you do like 1 minute intervals on that for sprint training.
Yeah.
High intensity interval training, not 2 hours.
Yeah. So it's nuts thinking like Kipchoge Elliott, the fastest marathon runner in the world, he ran a 2:59 marathon and that's 2 minutes 50 per kilometer. And I'm pretty sure a treadmill at EMF went to 2:54. So it didn't even go as fast as he ran a full marathon. And,
Whoa.
That's insane.
Insane.
which is crazy.
Absolutely wild.
He's flying.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have heard me reference it before, but anyone listening, if you want to hear more about like that and the science behind endurance, read the book Endure. It's fascinating.
That's sick. We'll link that below. I don't know if we will, but I just hear other people say that stuff.
Absolutely. All right, what are we talking about?
Oh, CJ, how's your training?
I've just finished my block of hypertrophy, high volume. But this week I've been sick, so I haven't been training, but thank goodness it's deload. So I guess, I got sick at the right time. But looking forward to what Bridge Dog has for me next.
We'll have a chat about it.
Kind of nervous, but keen at like being, I guess, sick and not training has made me miss training. So that's good.
We saw you hitting a bag last week. What's the go there? Who you angry at?
No one. It's,
What's your grievance? Who's your grievance of the week?
Because he even did a ground and pound one again, Thomas.
I saw it.
Yeah, that's playing up.
I got asked by Jack Barnes to do that one again. I look so silly in the gym doing it.
Well,
No,
I didn't say that.
no, there's no grievance. It's the only form of cardio I actually enjoy. I don't like going for runs or walking or anything like that, but boxing, for some reason, like it takes my mind off the fact that I'm huffing and puffing and about to choke to death. But yeah, I really enjoy hitting a bag. It's something I used to do as a teenager, and yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah, that sport.
Sweet.
Do you have any aspirations to get back in the ring?
No, Mum wouldn't let me. Yeah. I think one of the biggest reasons why I stopped is, I guess, like, yeah, as a kid you dream to be great and want to, make millions of dollars and whatnot, but the chances of doing that is like less than 1%. And I'd had fights and I was good, but I think to make it to that level, you've got to come from nothing and have that kind of, mongrel in you, which I had a bit of, but I think, yeah, you've got to, like, the guys that made it at the top, for them it was they either made it or they starved to death, you know what I mean? And even if you do make it to the top, at what cost is it? Like, for me is, I'd like to grow old, raise my kids and whatnot, and be present, you know what I mean? And a lot of the people that I was training with and coaches that coached me, like, I could see them, they were getting like punch drunk and whatnot, and and they weren't even that old. So that was like, that's almost a guarantee for me. But whether I make millions is a very slim chance. You know what I mean? So I was like, I should just do this for fitness, and I should listen to Mum.
As a fellow as my fellow countryman, a Filipino,
Yes.
I'm sure your mum has heard of someone called Manny Pacquiao.
Yes, he's the reason why I got into it.
Yeah, but so, like, does she not look at Uncle Manny and is like, CJ, that could be you?
No, she hates, like, even as a kid when I played rugby, she hated it.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, that's so violent, like, you're gonna hurt yourself, and like I did many times.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know if I've told you this, but so the reason why I played rugby and rugby league growing up is because my mum didn't want to raise me like a Filipino, even though she really did. I hung out with lots of Filipinos, but she wanted me to like mingle with like the Westerners, and she's like, nah, all the Filipinos play basketball, you go play rugby.
Did she force feed you Marmite?
Nah, she never did that.
It's really common. It's really common here. Like, this is getting a bit nerdy, but when I worked for the government, one of my first projects was working with CALD communities, so culturally and linguistically diverse. And we worked with a lot of new arrivals and refugees. And it's really common practice for refugees, especially from places like Sudan, to come here to feed their kids their cultural food. And the kids are like, no, I want to be like the other kids. Oh. And then, buying just the junk food that we have here. Because the cultural food that they send them to school with is fucking awesome. Yeah. It's really, it's a good food nutritionally, but it's also just tasty. But the kids just want like Marmite sandwiches or Vegemite sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah. That was me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't like coming to school with like a bowl of rice.
Yeah. I was embarrassed too.
Yeah, I was very embarrassed of what that looked like to kids, like having like ramen. So I wanted like LCMs and what everyone roll-ups, like what everyone else had.
I remember being roasted because I told my friends that I eat with my hands. And I remember like, are you poor? Do you not have knives and forks and spoons? I was like, what the fuck? To me, this is normal. But because my dad did FIFO, while my dad was away, we ate like Filipinos. Every meal was rice. And then when he'd come home, we'd eat like Westerners. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
But yeah. No, Mum's very protective. She doesn't like me doing contact sport or hated that I did boxing. Absolutely hated it.
There's a simple solution. Just don't get hit.
Yeah. Well, still, she knew because I'd come back from training and like sometimes be nearly in tears after getting bashed. Like, it'd be rough. So she didn't like that. Even like powerlifting, she's not the biggest fan of. Like,
what does your mum want you to do?
Well, she's like
knitting.
Study to be a doctor and like do that. Go
CJ, you have to be a doctor.
That's right. Yeah, help people make heaps of money and not get hurt. But I always choose the most violent sports and. Yeah. Even I remember talking to Nicole, who's a Filipino that trains here, and she was like, does your mum give you crap for being a powerlifter? Like saying, don't don't do this, you're going to break your back. Or and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling Bridget, you remember when my mum said to me, like, she saw a video of me squatting. She's like, why do you need to squat that much? It's stupid. You don't need to do that.
What do your parents think, Bridget?
Oh, they were terrified at the beginning. Same thing as CJ. Thought I was going to break my back. And then they actually came here and saw the comp and they love it. My dad wants to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
He's like, old people do this too? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I should
He
bring my
wants to
mum
get
to a
into
comp. Because when I competed, Thomas was like, is your mum coming? I was like, nah. Does she know you're competing? He was like, no. Like, she doesn't know I'm competing at all.
If CJ's mum saw him swear on the platform, she'd get up there and slap him.
She would.
Absolutely. Grab him by the ear and
Discount
drag
my
him out.
lift by
Yeah.
jumping on the platform and whacking me.
I have no idea what my parents think.
Really?
Yeah.
You're doing this.
You've been
you're
in
like
this
a
industry
pro.
longer than all
What
of
do you
us.
mean?
Yeah. My dad's come to one of my comps, Nationals in 2012.
Yeah.
That's the only time he's ever seen me lift. And my mum's never seen me lift besides she's on social media. So she's seen it on social media. But we don't really talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's
your mum's
wild.
seen how much you can lift as well?
Yeah.
Is she not like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think she's commented before saying I'm proud or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she A actually is or B really cares. My whole family, like only one of my brothers has ever seen me lift. And I think he thinks it's cool.
Yeah.
That's
That's,
wild.
yeah, I was just going to
That's
say
so wild
that.
to think of that.
Do they know? Do they like understand that you're like a big dog in the industry in Australia?
I don't know. Like the brother that's seen me lift, I think he listens to the podcast. So hello, Tim. Shout out to Tim.
Shout out Tim. He's the man.
I don't know if Johnny knows what a podcast is.
Yeah.
My sister Catherine, she wouldn't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's so wild.
That's crazy. All right. So let's get into the podcast topic now that we've finished talking shit. The topic it comes at good timing now that we're post APL Nationals. How to bounce back after a competition. Like, are you in a training rut? Are you feeling lost? Don't know what to do? Are you lacking motivation or discipline? Whatever it is, how to bounce back after a comp. This could be anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be a powerlifting competition. It could be an event. Like, for example, myself this weekend, how to bounce back from the race after, you've done peaking. You've peaked up to this event. So I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Thomas, you're the most experienced here. You've been around the block in terms of powerlifting competitions, and you always seem to bounce back after injury, after competition, after everything.
You have to throw the injury out there first. The broken guy. I think, we speak a lot about the idea of emotionally disconnecting from numbers, and this idea of, doing an event and then having to refine or recalibrate or, refine the love, recalibrate, find a routine again, find a rhythm again. It is, in my view, primarily a novice to intermediate issue. Like, the more experience you get, the more emotionally disengaged you get from it. Or at least you're allowed to discount the emotion a little bit. And it's very real. Like, it's very real for someone to do a competition and then immediately feel lost. It's because you put so much stock into the lead into this one point. And a lot of the times people will put that one point as the end point. And the reality is it's never the end point. Like, for you doing this run on the weekend, that's not the end. You're going to keep training after that. But because we put this competition, this date on a pedestal, that's where we stop thinking. And so when we get to that point and we go past it, or get as soon as the event is over, it's kind of like, well, everything that I've put in, all the work I've done has led to this point, and now it's gone. And then it's like, now what? And the answer is simple. Now what? Keep going. Nothing changes. Just keep going. But it's hard to rationalize that, especially if the competition or the event didn't go to plan. But even sometimes when it does, like, you're on such a high and then it's all just gone. Like, you make your post, everyone makes their post. A week later, it's gone. Like, a week after Nationals, it's gone. We're looking at some photos, but no one's like still riding that high. It dissipates very quickly. And you have to be quite emotionally resilient to just be like, okay, well, the next step is whatever the next competition is. You might not know what that is, but all the training leading into the previous competition wasn't just for that. That's just like a stepping stone in the journey towards the end. And we don't know where the end is because we don't plan the end. So that's the rational side of things. The emotional side of things is a little bit harder. The best thing that you can do for yourself, in my opinion, after riding that high and being like, oh, well, what next, is to just like develop and establish some routine, even if you don't have an end goal, is to just go and do stuff. And a lot of the time, I mean, you mentioned on the last podcast, Bridget, I think, right at the end, you said, remember to have fun. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time, reestablishing routine is going back to the roots and being like, you know what, maybe I don't need to do a program for this next 2 weeks. Maybe I can just chill and go and do some bicep curls, or go and do an AMRAP deadlift, or go and do whatever the fuck I want. And just remind yourself that training's fun, the community's good, that you love doing what you do, and then you can recalibrate and find something else.
That's nice. That's good.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
That's like so after nationals for me as a coach, I'm lucky I've got quite a few athletes that we can go straight into prep for worlds. So training looks pretty simple for them. Like obviously they finished nationals. Some of them might not have had the performance they wanted. That's fine, but the goal's still there. It's like, all right, nationals was a stepping stone towards worlds. So it makes bouncing back for them quite easy. But then I've also got some athletes that aren't competing at worlds or didn't qualify for worlds. So what do I do for them? Obviously, like for them, I've had a discussion with them post comp, and we've moved the goalposts. The goalposts, the end result isn't a big total anymore. So we've said, all right, the goal for this block is to build up some work capacity, just try accumulate some volume through this program. Let's try get fitter. Let's try get our heart rate high. Let's have shorter rest periods. Are we trying to Are we trying to change our body composition? I've just moved the goalpost essentially. So that the focus isn't on strength. Lots of people think when you do powerlifting, obviously it is. The biggest thing is you're trying to get stronger, but it's not necessarily the be all and end all. You can still do powerlifting and enjoy yourself without actually getting stronger. Like what determines progress? Yeah, the number on the bar definitely determines progress, but some people don't take into account they're a way better bench presser now technically. They move a lot better. Their shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. Little things like that. They're in better shape. Maybe before they didn't like lifting. Now they love it. Progress isn't only determined by the arbitrary measure of resistance. I love saying that. So that's how I always try to look at it. And it's this is speaking from someone that always crashes and burns after something, an event. I remember last year when I ran that GC30, I just felt empty after that run. I was like, fuck, I got nothing to work towards now. Like the half marathon, instead of thinking, all right, I want to run a faster half marathon, I just pulled out of that prep. I was like, nah, it doesn't serve me anymore. But I just kind of made that thing up in my head because I had a really hard run the week after it. But it's like, yeah, like Tom said, I should have recalibrated, removed that emotional attachment to it, and just kind of kept on trucking along. And like you mentioned previously, Bridget, being realizing why you started this. None of us started powerlifting because we had to. We all chose to do this. We all found it somehow, and we got into it. Same with running. The reason why I started running is I realized that that's when I enjoyed being by myself. It was something difficult. It was something that I wasn't really good at. So I enjoyed suffering. And now that suffering's getting harder, it's like, oh, this sucks. But it's like, nah, that's the sole reason why I got into it. It was hard. I enjoyed suffering.
Yeah. No, it's like CJ was saying before, you raised that point about what Meg said in terms of training is a choice. Like it's not like I have to train, it's I get to train. It is a privilege to choose to come and do this. And there's a lot of power to be found with that. There's another really good quote along the lines of, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. What we do and not pain as in like physical pain, but maybe you define the grind as physical pain or emotional pain. Like if we are pushing to be better, if we are, trying to actively make these adaptations, it's not easy. It is genuinely hard. And the harder it is, there's probably a good indication that you're doing better. You're going to make more progress. And it's really easy to sit in that space and suffer as a result. Suffering happens in your head. It doesn't happen in real life. And so the more we can look at, I choose to come and put my body through this. I choose to accept the fact that this sport has highs and has lows. I do sometimes fail. I do sometimes lift weights that feel heavier than they should or they used to. The more you can see that as a choice, and even less than a choice, but an inevitable part of the journey, the more satisfaction you can find in the other stuff. Because I guarantee in every negative session, there's something positive to be found. But we're really good on comparing things to more positive times and then honing in and focusing on the negatives instead of looking at the positives and using the negatives as learning experiences.
It's one of my favorite expressions is even if you can't choose your situation, you can choose your thoughts about it.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really cool. You've said that to me a few times actually. Because right now when I come in and do my, I still do strength training like 3 times a week. And it started because I kind of told myself I was weaker. So I started, lifting lighter weights, which doesn't really matter. But, and you hear this a little bit disheartening once you've been a full-blown powerlifting prep. And, I was the strongest I've ever been because I was prepping for a competition. Obviously, the numbers on the bar were just getting higher each week. I was a heavier body weight, things like that. But, yeah, I just changed my thoughts around what I'm doing. And I'm like, cool, I'm doing bench press because I enjoy it. Not because I'm trying to be stronger, because I enjoy it.
And how good do you feel now?
Yeah, I feel great.
Yeah.
Not attached to a number on the bar, which is really good for me. And it's really good to, like you said, I chose to bench press.
Yeah, it's always interesting to live the power of your mind, to experience it. Like I recall when I did that stupid squat Guinness World Record thing, in the training, I've mentioned on here before, it would go for 4 or 5 hours of just non-stop sets of 10 with a 1-minute break of squats, just light. But I'd get to the point where I'm like, I physically cannot go anymore. And I remember several times packing up my gym bag, putting the weights away, being like, last time I did more than this, walking halfway to the door, turning around and going and doing more sets. Just being like, no, you're not finished. Your brain is finished, but your body has more in it. You guys have probably seen me do it here in the past as well, where I go to pick something up and I've told myself it's too heavy, so I don't get it. And then I step away and I'm like, no, fuck this. It's not too heavy. It's my brain holding me back. And then I just pick it up.
Yeah.
I tried to do that when we were testing the platform at Nationals, but it was too heavy. And so I just failed twice in a row.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that in yourself, and it's cool to see that in others. It's cool to see, that's one of the privileges that we have as a coach, is that we get to be that voice for them. Because a lot of people would do something and give up if it weren't for us standing there and being like, you know what, you can do better than this.
Yeah.
I believe that you've got more in you, and you should believe that too. And then they do believe, and all of a sudden, wow, they can do the task. It's really cool to see that, and it's cool as a coach to impart that view on others and then see them push themselves.
That's something I always try to tell to my lifters or athletes, whatever you want to call them, is whenever they're nervous about a number or something, I always tell them that they deserve to squat this. You've earned the right to squat, bench, or deadlift this weight. I haven't just chucked this random fucking number on the barbell. You've literally worked your way up, and you deserve the right. You own the right to squat this.
That's awesome.
So that's really cool. And I remember, Bridget, last year during your prep, there was a set when you went up to the barbell and you tried to pull it and it just didn't come off the ground, and you walked away. I was like, go back and fucking deadlift it. And you literally just walked back, you changed your mindset around it, and then just went straight up.
And then I think we cracked up laughing afterwards.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, the mind's a powerful thing. And I know people think things like David Goggins type stuff. Some people find that really corny, but I think that's fucking cool. I love it. There's this chick called Courtney Dewater that I really love. She's an endurance runner, and she's arguably the greatest endurance runner ever in history, and at her checkpoints, and she's crazy because she doesn't have a program, nothing. She's just a freak of nature. She, at her checkpoints, everyone's got their heart out race nutrition and shit. She's got beer and tacos waiting for her and things like that. But one thing she always says is when you're in the pain cave, you just got to sit in there and see how long you can sit in there for. And I think that's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is corny, and I'm not really a big fan of the glorification of the military and the military mindset, but I love listening to Goggins or those any of the Navy SEALs that talk about their experience going through, BUDS, or the Navy SEAL training program, or the Rangers over there, or all those old SAS shows and the French Foreign Legion, all those crazy ass training regimes that are literally poison to the human body, but designed to weed out weakness in the mind. And just hearing the stories of people who, they may not be the biggest or the strongest or the best physically, but just have a brain that's just nah, I'm here and I'm not stopping until I physically cannot stop. You hear people that know Dan Green really well describe him like that as well.
Really?
It's probably an explanation as to why he gets injured pretty frequently, is because his brain, it gets overridden by his body. He's really good at just being like, I want to stop, but my legs, they've still got more. I haven't failed yet. So like, and you watch his videos and you can see it. Like the guy just doesn't turn off. He's incredible to watch.
Yeah, that's nuts. Have we got anyone like that here?
Definitely have. I'm trying to think of names that come to mind. The one that comes to mind the most, none of you guys know. He was a fighter and a tennis player that I used to coach. He was really good at fighting and really good at tennis. And yeah, the guy just didn't know how to stop. He was like the true definition of when you train athletes and your job is to hold them back, not let them go as hard as they want to go. Like the guy just didn't know how to not do more.
That was like that. He was only a kid, but his name, what was his last name? Cooper from Brisbane Boys College.
Yeah,
I think he's the hardest trainer I've ever trained.
Tall kid, right?
Yeah, really tall kid, really aggressive. Everything he did was 100%.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you say, all right, we're going to do 3 of these rotational slams. You're only doing a set of 3 because they're max effort. Like his ones were actually max effort. Everything he did was 100 miles per hour, 100%, and he'd always want to do more. And because watching him train, I was like, fuck, this kid, he's literally built different. His mind is somewhere else. And I think I told you stories about him playing footy, CJ. He was a psycho, like a dead set nutter, and he was a small like a number 8. They're normally big guys. But he's not too big. He's like 90 kilos. And for like a 15, 16-year-old number 8, they're usually around 108, 110 kilos. And other kids that I know that have played against him would say he's so scary. He'd fly out of the line and hit you at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Even though he's 20 kilos lighter than you, he'd still cut you in half. And he was a fighter too. So he's a black belt. And what was he a black belt in? I don't know, some kind of karate. I don't know. And I told you, CJ, when he kicked me over the head.
He didn't kick you.
Kicked over my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to say it now, but he will be a professional rugby player. Like, just the way he carries himself, so disciplined. Everything he does is, nuts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's wired different.
But speaking of David Goggins, I just got a funny story about his book. So, you know how his thing is Stay Hard?
Yeah.
So, I live with 2 of my best friends, and they've got a husky. And a couple of weeks ago, it ripped up every single book in the house. So, the lounge was covered in all. Every book was ripped up. There was one book that wasn't ripped up.
Goggins.
The Goggins book. It was in the middle, and they were so pissed off cleaning it up. And he was like, "Oi, fucking Goggins isn't ripped up." And he's like, "Stay hard."
Yeah.
So we're joking about how the book was just sitting there saying, "Stay hard." He's not gonna rip you up.
Not gonna mess with Goggins. You don't mess with the Goggins.
That's so right. Yeah, it's so good. But does anyone else have anything about how to bounce back from a competition? How did you bounce back after your last comp, Bridget?
I've just learned to sort of fall in love with the process of training again. I used to have to have a goal to work towards, and I've sort of been in a bit of a rut lately with that. But yeah, just falling in love with training in general has helped me get through it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just enjoying the process again.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you, CJ? You kind of bounced back straight away because you had another goal?
Yeah, I think, I've really, I guess, seen in myself, sounds really like I'm blowing smoke, but like how much, I guess, training has matured me as a lifter. Because I remember, like, everything you guys were talking about, like what you were saying, Thomas, I completely relate to it. It was like, yep, I did that. Like, after my first comp, I kind of was like, oh, well, there's nothing here now. And I just didn't really train for like several months because I just didn't have any, I guess, goal or motivation or nothing that I was working to. And I forgot why I got into it. I forgot that it was about the lifestyle and just loving lifting and loving getting strong and loving the process. I forgot all that. And then I remember, like, we were talking about after that comp, I think I was cutting your hair, Thomas, and we're talking about Michelle Latham, and she's a strong girl that used to train here, and at the time, like her numbers are more than me. I think her bench is still more than me. And
It definitely is.
yeah, it definitely is by a long shot, actually. And I was just like, gosh, this girl's like so much older than me, so much lighter, and she just absolutely lifts like so much more than my total. And you were like, yeah, but that's because you're not training, Siege. And you're like, if you just stick with it, I reckon you could be pretty good. And at first I was like, oh, I was just saying that. But I thought about it and it started to just really simmer in me. And then when I started getting, I don't know, something just switched and I just went all out for this next novice comp that I just did. And I saw the numbers that I did in comparison to my last comp and literally added like 105 kilos to my total. And all I could think about was, man, what if my mindset was in the right place, like all those months earlier where I was just doing crap all? Like, what would have happened?
It's so crazy how adhering to the principles of strength training works.
Yeah. But getting into the mindset of doing it. And it was just like, man, what if that switch flicked earlier, or if I just had my mind on the right, place during that time when I'd finished the comp, what I could have lifted, and now when I think about that, that's why coming off the back of this last comp, I was like, I want to get right into it. I think part of it also was knowing that it works. So just like you're saying, like seeing what the volume does in the strength blocks and all those phases, like now I've seen how much it added to my total. I see that it works. So now it gives purpose to the pain. And yeah, like there's times it's like just I don't want to train and I don't want to come to the gym. And yeah, I just think of that mentality that David Goggins has. And it's like, well, no one can lift it for you. No one can do it for you. So you just, and there'll be times where I'm like halfway through a set and I'm just like, I just want to drop this. And yeah, same deal. I'm just like, yeah, who's going to do it for you? Like, you just have to do it. You do it because you love it. And I'm in so much pain and hurting. But yeah, it's that mentality. But yeah, I think that you see, even saying that, like what you were saying, Thomas, about how the comp is not the end. And that's what, going into this comp, that was my mindset. It was like, oh, this isn't the end. Like after this, I want to get stronger. I want a bigger total after this. I want to, whereas my first comp that I did, that sort of was it. It became, I was just training because I loved it. And then you're like, James, you're just like, just do the comp. And it was like literally like a month out. So I didn't even really have a proper peak. You're like, just do it. I'll sign you up. I'm going to sign you up. I'm like, oh, fine. But then everything just went to that comp. Like everything centered around that. So when that finished, I'd forgotten about, why I got into it. So going to this comp, I guess having just having learnt and then coming into it with the mindset of knowing that this isn't the end and knowing what happened last time. Yeah, it's really grown me, I guess, in my maturity as a lifter.
You're familiar with the New Testament, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've seen the holes in the hand. We need to change your name to Thomas.
What do you mean?
Doubting Thomas.
Oh.
You guys know about Thomas in the Bible?
A little bit.
Thomas was a disciple. And he didn't believe Jesus. He wouldn't believe Jesus until he showed that he came back from the dead, until Jesus showed him the holes in the hand. That's CJ with programming.
Yeah.
Training doesn't work. Don't believe it.
That's not the point I was making, guys.
Yeah. But that's
so
the point I'm making.
Yeah.
No, man, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I just on that topic, because we've all said, CJ's did a little bit of boxing. I'm currently running and doing a little bit of a training, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Thomas, you're in a little bodybuilding phase. Can you call it bodybuilding phase or just not? Yeah. Bridget, you're in a bit of a bodybuilding phase as well. Let's talk about concurrent training. Can you train two disciplines at once?
Absolutely.
Can you do it effectively?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Definitely. Anyone who says that you can't just is wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's important to add context here. Like if you're trying to be, what's the marathon runner's name?
Elliot Kipchoge.
Yeah, if you're trying to be the Filipino Elliot and then the Filipino Dan Green at the same time, of course it's not going to happen, right? You're not going to be the absolute elite of a given task. You know, if anything, I'd say that's offensive. People who think they can be the best of the best in multiple things at the same time is probably offensive to the people that are the best of the best in that thing. Sure, there are outliers who probably are really great at a lot of things at the same time. Absolutely. You know, especially in like team sports. I think of all you would know, I don't really know, but I'm sure there's a lot of high level athletes that ended up in a sport, not because they love that sport and wanted to be the best at it, but because they got paid more than the other sport they were in. Like I'm sure there's stories of like cricketers that switched to AFL or AFL players that switched to gridiron because the money's better or the contracts are better. And it's like, they're just athletically gifted. But I think in most sports, especially sports that are individual, like you have to dedicate your time, your training to that thing to be the best at it. Does that mean you can't be really great at multiple things at the same time? Absolutely not. And all it comes down to is just intelligent programming. Like, why can't you lift weights and run at the same time? Did you get a chance to speak to Matt, the guy that I trained last week before he left, who's doing the marathon as well?
No, I didn't actually get to talk to him about it.
So his passion is trail running. He does like 100K trail runs and stuff like that. And he was saying that like his training for the marathon, because he's doing the half the day before and then the full marathon the day after. He's going with people in the half to like guide, I think, disabled people or people with Parkinson's. So he'll jog with them and then he'll run the marathon. And I was like, wow, what does training look like up to that? And he's like, honestly, 3 to 4 strength training sessions a week and I run once a week.
Wow.
That's all he does for it. And it's like, you know, he's built a base and he's intelligent around his training and he can, you know, he competes in CrossFit. He does a whole bunch of things at the same time. And as long as you're intelligent with your training and if you really want to prioritize one thing, you have to deprioritize some other things. There's no reason why you can't do multiple things at once.
I think that's a big part as to why I'm a better runner this time around than last year, because I'm a stronger runner. So because I still train in the gym 3 times a week. Even though it's not powerlifting specific, I still go pretty hard on those sessions. Like I make those sessions count as well. But there's a lot of, because Thomas, there's a bit of a trend in powerlifting as well. There's lots of powerlifters that do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing. And do you think because they're all really good at it too? Like Edan that used to train here, he was really good at jiu-jitsu as well. Alex Evans that trains here, he was a powerlifter. He's very strong. He's good at jiu-jitsu. Who else does? Chad Wesley Smith. Yeah. He does both. There's quite a few. Like, yeah, it kind of just shows that you can.
Edan's annoying though. He's just good at everything.
He is very strong, and now he does CrossFit, and he's good at that too.
I know, it's really annoying, like really annoying. But whatever. He's just one of those people. Yeah, I think the important thing is this. So this is where I get annoyed is when powerlifters talk about it. Like powerlifting training is hard. Like I feel like people who have adopted a powerlifting training mindset literally have no concept of what other sporting endeavors look like what, you know, Elliot's training would look like, or even just Google how Michael Phelps or Thorpe, what's his name? Ian Thorpe, how they used to train, like what their training regime looks like. It's like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah. We do that in a week.
Yeah, literally like 4 2-hour sessions, right? Yeah. With mostly rest. Like powerlifting training is not difficult and it's not that taxing on the body. That's the reality of it. And, you know, of course, I've been an elite powerlifter. I coach elite powerlifters. Yeah, it gets full on sometimes. But the reality is we are extremely adaptable creatures that can do lots of things at the same time really well. And there's no reason why we can't. You know, it comes back to the mental side of things. I think so often we just tell ourselves this is not possible. And so we just believe it. So we don't even try. If you just believe it and try and see what your body's capable of, you'll probably surprise yourself.
Yeah. It's funny because like, obviously it's different for the elite powerlifters. Like this is their main thing. This is their, you know, they're trying to be elite at this one discipline, which is powerlifting, squat, bench, deadlift. When other people say that, oh, I can't go shoot hoops or I can't kick a soccer ball this week because I've got a big squat session on a Monday. That's cool. That's fine. That's completely fine. But you also got to like take it. I always forget that some people do our sport, strength training, to get better at their sport. You know, which is it's a funny concept. Some people, like you said, we get in that powerlifter mindset. Then they're like, nah, this is it. This is the be all end all. I can't do this for this. But it's like our sport is an accessory work for other people's main sport,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, I empathize. Like, if I'm peaking for a comp, I'm not going to go out and play. I don't play a game of anything. But if you're like, come and play some casual basketball, I'll be like, no, I'm cool.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I got a squat on Monday. Like, I get that. I totally understand it. But the concept of you cannot do that, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyone else got anything to add before we wrap things up?
What sports did everyone play at school? What did you play at school, Thomas?
Oh, so I grew up playing soccer.
Yeah?
I played soccer, like club soccer from, I don't know, age 6 or 7 until maybe 10 or 11.
Were you good at it?
I was a good goalkeeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
nice.
really enjoyed soccer. I loved it. I got on some sort of rep team. I can't remember what.
Yeah.
I remember I was always on the A team at school, if that counts for anything. We used to go to do inter-school sports at Hagley Park.
They were the best, eh?
Yeah, that was terrifying. I got stage fright doing that. Then I played a little bit of ice hockey in high school, and then when I moved here, I competed in freestyle BMX until I was like 21.
Yeah, nice. What
That's
about
wild.
you, CJ? What did you do?
Oh, wait. I got one more to add. I played one game of rugby and I pulled out halfway.
Really?
At halftime, I'm like, I'm not going back out there, and I quit. Hated it. Hated every second of it. Sorry, your turn, CJ.
No, hang on. Thomas is actually a really good BMX rider as well.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
My bike got stolen, so I can't show you.
Really?
Yeah, it got stolen like 2 months ago.
Oh,
But how long did you ride BMX for?
Like from age 13 up until my bike got stolen.
whoa.
Yeah, I stopped riding consistently when I was about 24.
Mm.
Then I rode maybe like once every few months.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, if you scroll back on Thomas's Instagram, there's a video of you out in the car park at the old gym doing like a 360 on the spot and then pulling 300.
Yeah,
Or something
other
like
way around.
Oh, the other way around. You deadlifted 300
Yeah.
and then got on the bike.
It's when Instagram Q&As came out and someone dared me to pull 300 and then do a 360. I'm like, well, I'll show you.
That's concurrent training.
Yeah, baby.
yeah, actually, so tell me you can't do both.
That's actually really cool.
Wow. I played a lot of sports as a kid. Played a lot of touch footy, played rugby, and then I played rugby union for a club because the school I went to didn't have rugby. They had AFL. So I still played AFL because it was the closest thing to it. Played, what do you call like hockey that's not on ice? So you run around with the one-sided stick. Like
Field hockey.
Field hockey. Grass hockey, yeah. And
People
then
make fun of that sport. It's a fucking brutal sport.
Yeah.
it's very
It's
brutal.
savage.
I just like how
so
CJ didn't
brutal.
know the name of it.
Yeah.
Land hockey.
Hockey, but not on ice.
Yeah. Running hockey. And then I think in high school that's when I got into boxing.
Yeah, nice.
And then just did that until whenever I think I was 19 was when I had my fight, and then I didn't really pursue fighting even more any more than that. And then powerlifted.
Yeah, awesome. What about you?
Played rugby league, rugby union, touch football. I did track and field when I was a kid. And that's it. Because I've represented New Zealand in touch football under 19. It was meant to be a Youth World Cup, but it ended up just being a Trans-Tasman series. I made the team again, under 21s. What else I do? I was in the New Zealand Academy for soccer.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I can bring up those photos for you guys. And yeah, I just played everything.
Brag again about how many volleys you've done in a row.
Oh yeah, 1,013.
Nice.
I can do 66 on my head.
Really?
Yeah. Have you seen me with a soccer ball?
No.
Have you seen me with a soccer ball?
I've seen you dabble, but not properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just dabble when like Jamie used to bring his boys in
Mm.
and they'd have the ball and you'd like kind of juggle a bit and then
It's like riding a bike. It's probably like how you could jump on a bike anytime and you still could probably do all the tricks you could do, just not as clean.
Yeah.
It's like that with the soccer ball. I can still, people are like, fuck, do you play? And I'm like, nah, when's the last time you played? I'm like, 13. But I've just still got it. Mm.
It's crazy
Have
with
to see
that
this.
sport how young. One of the guys I cut was a soccer coach, and I was like, how do these kids make it into the the Premier League and whatnot? And he was saying like, scouts start when they're like 7.
Mm.
I I was like, what? He goes, usually by the age 9, you know if they've got it or not.
Mm.
Wow.
And I was like, that is insane.
Real recognize real.
After
Yeah.
I was like, after that, it's if they're not in academy by 13, that to me is just So you were 13 when you stopped.
Yeah.
That's wild. What did you do? Track and field. What was?
I was a sprinter.
Whoosh.
Are you a sprinter?
Yeah.
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 So I got like, can't say scouted, but because I ran track and field at school, and then like they were like, oh, you're quite quick. Do you want to come join this track and field club? And I was like, yeah, sweet.
What was it? We had a little athletics in New Zealand, but it was called something else.
Colgate Games?
Colgate,
Yeah. Yeah, so I went to like 3 Colgate Games.
Oh, far out.
Yeah.
For sprinting?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was good at shot put as a kid.
Yeah.
And I went to whatever, like the level, you do it at school and then you go to,
Zones.
we went to QE2
Yeah.
and then I got to the next stage. But when I went to the next stage, which was also at QE2, I got there and I was sitting in the stands and I thought the thing was at like 10:30, but it was at 9:30, so I missed it. I was just sitting up in the stands, like eating sandwiches or something. So I missed the comp and I never went back.
This is crazy. So my housemate, John Brooks, he was a sprinter as well growing up, but he was a proper sprinter. So he still holds the record for under 16 sprints in Wellington. He still holds the time.
That's crazy.
Wild.
He's
That's
31 years
cool.
old now. So you still type in the records,
Whoa.
and he still holds the record for 15 years. And one of our mates posted it, I don't know how long ago, on his birthday. And you just see him fucking blitz the whole pack, and it's crazy.
So good.
Because me and him went and did sprint training, maybe this was 2016 when I still had 2 good Achilles. And he's like, yeah, let's go do some sprints. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to smoke. I'm going to show this guy who's boss. Like, I thought I still had it. And he was blitzing me by we were doing 100 meter repeats, and he was blitzing me by 10 meters every time. And there were these 2 girls sitting in the crowd, and they must have felt bad for me because I could hear them going, go white hat.
What times did you run? Like,
I've done 11.92.
yeah.
So I did sub 12 when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13.
It's quick.
Yeah. I can't remember what my 400 and 200 were.
I could probably do it in 30.
Yeah.
I could probably do 30 now.
Yeah, what about you? What were your sports?
Oh, I did a bunch of stuff. Like I was really good at netball. I was the captain of my netball team in high school.
That's why you're so angry.
Angry?
Netball players are the angriest people ever.
Angry?
No.
I'm really nice.
No,
No, I
you're
did a
sweet.
bit of team sport. I did some soccer. I did a bit of touch footy, but my main thing was athletics. And I was a sprinter and a swimmer.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a really good runner. I can't run. For
Distance
shit now.
running?
No, 100 meter sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a few endurance runs, but I hated them.
It's all people that did track and field, females especially. They've all got a same body type. Like Lisa Ole, track and field, Bridget Murphy, track and field, Liz Clay. They've all got that similar body type. They've all got big hamstrings.
Long and lean like a gazelle.
Yeah.
Like a gazelle.
Nice.
And they've all got big shoulders.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
swimming.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what that is.
What discipline of swimming did you do?
Freestyle, mainly freestyle and backstroke. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I could never do butterfly. I still want to learn how to do butterfly.
Nice.
I cannot
Yeah.
backstroke to save my life.
Do you like
Yeah.
go in all different directions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Filipino, so I can't swim.
I remember I really wanted to be good at basketball.
Yeah.
So I used to go to I lived down the road from my primary school. So when I was in primary school, I used to go every day and practice after school. And for some reason, I was better than a lot of the kids, but I didn't get picked for the team, which probably means I probably wasn't better than a lot of the kids. But for some reason, I decided to go watch their game. I can't remember what it was, but I went and watched their game, and I was just sat there so salty and angry the whole time. Anytime someone missed a pass or missed a shot, I was like, I would have got that. I would have got that. Just sat there, and I remember. I don't know how long it would have been. As a kid, your memory's fuzzy. I reckon I practiced for a year or something like that. I
Yeah.
played hard for a long time. And after I didn't get selected again, I'm pretty sure I've never played basketball again in my
That's
life.
sad.
Yeah,
That's
that's
really sad.
that sucks. Fuck.
It's not
Let
that
them crush
sad.
your dreams.
It's actually it's actually pretty brutal as a kid though. Eh?
Yeah.
When you think about it, you love this thing and then you don't get selected for the team and then you just don't play.
It's funny, because I became obese towards the end of primary school and then into high school, and it was just such a quick reversal of being on the A team to being literally that kid that's dedicated as picked last for any team. I relished it. I never wanted to play. Once I got fat, I didn't want to do any form of physical activity.
Really?
Like either because of shame or just knowing I sucked at it. I was happy to be picked last or to sit on the bench.
Damn.
Yeah, I faked sick every cross country, I've done the beep test once in my life and I got 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
2.5.
Would it make me feel good?
Well,
My claim to fame though is that because I wasn't the fattest kid in that class, I wasn't the first out. I was second, so I wasn't the worst.
but now you're jacked out of your mind, so it's
Right. In their face.
yeah, suckers.
Who needs the beep test? I got the deadlift test. baby.
Yeah. Can you do a
Got the
three?
trophy downstairs.
Yeah. Can you do a 360 then a 300 kilo deadlift? I don't think so.
That's right. I showed them.
Yeah, suckers.
Showed them. Oh man.
All right, it's been a really good episode. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Zero Weakness podcast. Sorry, CJ, I kind of just jacked the outro. But also, I just checked our ratings on Spotify. We're not even in the top 50. So if everyone can keep fucking liking us, like, subscribe, share.
Do the rating. Like when you click to play the episode, you can do the 5-star rating. It literally takes about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Don't have to leave a comment. Just hit 5 stars. Really helps get the podcast out there. Really helps reach more ears so we can give away more information and help more lifters out.
Sweet. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, fam.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Zero podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, Zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.